40 chess, 40 chess, 40 chess, because that's how the line goes, right?
Yeah.
Yep. What's up,
Donald Trump
everybody?
is only pretending to be retarded.
That seems to be either that, or he's just like, or he really is a malicious actor, like bought and paid for by Putin or something. And really, that's the thing that really pisses me off about that. We'll talk about. I guess we should actually greet first. What's up, everybody? It is Zach, the Dark Conservatarian, and I'm here with Loudmouth Reviews to talk about issues regarding Russia here on this episode of DarkMouth. Like, we seem to be having a bit of a fuck Trump sandwich right now. Like, first episode is fuck Trump, second episode it was praise Trump, third episode and now in the third episode it's pretty much going to be fuck Trump, or mostly, anyways. But we'll talk about the White House meeting that seems to be hotly in the news later. But right now, even though that I am late, I just have some opinions to give out about the line that Trump gave about how you should not have started the war regarding referring to Volodymyr Zelensky when it comes to the war. And I just gotta say, how retarded. Like, for years now, we all have been like doubting and even like arguing against the whole idea that he is like a Russian plant. Like, everybody from Trump supporters to Bernie bros and even establishment GOP for the most part been doubting those theories. The only people who have been really believing them is establishment Democrat. And now, as of very recently, Trump is all like, here, establishment Democrats, here, has some ammunition against me. Like, saying that is just fucking retarded. What do you have to say, Loudmouth?
Yeah, well, what Trump said there, well, you got to understand about Trump that he's a true psychopath and a pathological liar. He constantly just makes shit up, and his attacks on Zelensky are a great example. A whole bunch of shit he said were just straight up lies. The claim that Zelensky has only 4% approval rating in Ukraine is backed up by nothing. It's totally something that Trump, in his delusional, psychotic mind, just made right up.
Yeah, and I don't know if you like listen to how much that you listen to Sitch and Adam, but one of their more recent shows gone talking about how apparently Elon Musk made some essentially the same claims, saying that Zelensky has like 4% approval, and he got community noted about that. And I don't know if it was people like actually hard debunking him or just asking, "Hey, what's your source?" And somebody mentioned something about community notes, and then he was all like, sometimes community notes are wrong. And it's like, what the fuck? If you got no evidence, then just go home and don't make this stupid, retarded claim. And maybe after this
and what's really funny, though, is after Trump made that claim, Zelensky's approval rating actually went up.
Yeah, and it's something that I read along those lines, that even if they were to go ahead and have elections, that he and his party would have more spots within their political government. I believe it was that very same source that you sent me, actually, on Twitter DMs, which I'll have to like link that down in the description box here below, actually. But yeah, and maybe his approval dipped a bit with after the White House press briefing, but I highly doubt it's down to literally 4%. That's absolutely
zero chance in hell. Trump is just a straight up maniacal, pathological liar.
Trump has destroyed that pathological liar?
I said he's a straight up pathological liar. He lies constantly, and to some extent, he's narcissistic and delusional enough to believe his own lies.
Yeah, and rewinding a bit back to the whole claim
like
of
George Costanza as president.
What?
It's like we elected George Costanza as president.
Oh, well, okay. I don't know enough about George
From
Costanza.
Seinfeld, character, or Jason Alexander's character from Seinfeld. One of the gags in him is that he's a pathological liar who starts to literally believe his own lies.
The only thing that I've ever seen of George Costanza is where he voices the one fat gargoyle from Hunchback of Notre Dame. I have never watched Seinfeld.
You never watched Seinfeld? Oh, shit.
Yeah, you gotta remember, I was a sheltered homeschool boy in my younger childhood, and I'm only like now playing catch up on a whole lot of pop culture stuff that a lot of other people have watched.
Either. It's not a kid's show. I watched it. I didn't start watching it until after it was canceled. I just watched it from reruns.
Okay. Well, cool. But okay. Dang it, I lost my train of thought on that. Ukraine started the war. Okay. Oh yeah. Like it would be one thing if he was to like say like if he wanted to go on some attack of Ukraine, the least that he could have done, which we would have thought was still dumb and disagree with it, but the least he could have done was say the same thing that Sargon said to Sitch and Adam when he debated against them on the war a few years back, and that he said, "Oh, Russia was scared; they were being provoked. Ukraine was trying to join NATO, and so therefore that's a self-justified reason." And blah 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 blah. All that sophistry that he pulled in that debate. Trump could have pulled that same thing as well, which would have been a little bit closer to the truth, even if we disagree with it and still think that Ukraine would have had like somewhat of a right to join if they did. But no, apparently he just wanted to like join topsy-turvy world and say that no, Ukraine, you should not have started the war. Like, if that is supposed to be a way of you gaining brownie points with Putin, it's like, I don't care if people want to claim 40 chess. Like, I am so fucking tired of the topsy-turvy language that he keeps on using in the inarticulate language. Like, again, if you wanted to say he provoked Russia, that Zelensky provoked Russia into attacking them or whatever, that might be a little bit more truthful, but whilst being still disagreeable. But still, he could have said that if he wanted to say anything, but no, he was all like, no, you shouldn't have started the war. Like, if they're the ones who invaded, like, if they're the ones who made the declaration of
what
war
Trump
in the
is
first
basically
place.
saying is he's saying that if he had been president, he'd be able to like strike a deal with the Russians, and thus the war wouldn't have happened. More so that he's saying that Ukraine literally invaded Russia. But even when you give Trump all the benefits of the doubt over his wordage, it's still bullshit. Because there's absolutely no evidence whatsoever that Putin wouldn't have invaded Ukraine if Trump were president in 2022. That's an absolute delusional talking point that Trump's dumb supporters constantly repeat. But the thing is, Putin was planning to invade Ukraine in 2020, and he only pushed it back due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Oh,
so
wait,
he absolutely would have still invaded Ukraine regardless of who won in 2020.
Oh, well, what's your reasoning on that exactly? Say that Putin would have invaded anyways.
Because he was planning to do so at the end of Trump's term anyway. He only was delayed because of the coronavirus pandemic.
So
the idea that
started to do it as in he started to mobilize vehicles on the border.
There's literally no evidence for that. It's pure. I mean, obviously it can't be disproven because it's a counterfactual, but there's literally no evidence or reason to believe that at all, just because beyond a simple-minded Trump good, Biden bad kind of brain-dead thinking.
I won't say that there is like no evidence, because the only times where he did invade Ukraine was, during Obama's term when he did capture Crimea, and when after Trump had left. I mean, maybe he would have done it anyways, even if Trump was reelected, but because he wasn't reelected, there's no way to like absolutely prove otherwise.
I'm aware of that. It's a counterfactual. A counterfactual can't be directly proved or disproven. That's the whole point of it. But I'm saying there's no real reason to think so. And but Trump, due to his narcissism, he always believes that I could have negotiated better because I'm so fucking awesome. I have a 10-foot cock and I'm the coolest person there ever was. And if I had done so, the war wouldn't have happened, which it is largely complete nonsense. For one, the notion that Ukraine was being fast-tracked into NATO and when Putin invaded is BS. There was absolutely no real fast-track plan to put Ukraine in NATO at the time Putin invaded. Because, yeah, NATO has said that Ukraine could possibly join eventually if they like met all these obligations, like limiting various corruption in their government, but they were never like really put on any kind of fast track. So the notion that was like something that forced Putin's hand to invade is absolute nonsense.
Is everyone insane? Asks Coffee House Dialogue in the live chat. That's Zachary Colley. Yeah, I'm going insane because of how many times that I'm getting of how many times that Trump wants to be completely inarticulate in what he's actually wanting to say. Like, can't he just actually say what he wants to say? Oh no, but apparently that's not hard hitting enough for him to say what he actually factually knows to be the truth, and that being that Ukraine didn't start the war. Say whatever you want about, even though, like Loudmouth just said, it's likely not true. Even if a U.S. say whatever you want of Ukraine, like provoking Russia supposedly because they were trying to invade Ukraine, excuse me, dang it, because they were trying to join NATO. I'm tripping over my own words now. Speaking of inarticulation, hey, but at least I'm trying to correct myself. Whereas Trump seems to have no ability to correct himself, but also just an inability to be accurate, even if the accurate talking point is something a little less hard hitting than the super hyperbolic talking point.
Yeah,
and that being Ukraine started the war.
Ukraine has always been that although even if we don't want them to join the second, Putin does not get veto power over what other sovereign nations get to join NATO or not. That's the real deal. These are sovereign nations, and if they want to join a defensive alliance, Putin does not have veto power over that, and that's something that Putin is really pissed off about, and why he has such a hate boner for NATO.
Yeah, and so all this that we got talking about, him calling Zelensky a dictator, and him saying that Ukraine started the war, and I think Zelensky threw some insults Trump's way as well. All that, if I was to believe correctly, happened like a little bit before Trump and his team actually reached out and said, hey, Zelensky, get over here so that we can sign this deal, and, negotiations start for that mineral deal, which kicked off the spat in the White House. So don't I have that correct?
What was about the mineral deal?
The claims of Ukraine starting the war, Zelensky is a dictator, and whatever shit Zelensky threw Trump's way, wasn't that before they actually started negotiations on the mineral deal, let alone start making moves to sign it?
Trump started by basically attacking Zelensky, and the thing that pissed me off most about that whole fight at the White House is when Trump chastised Zelensky for having too much hatred against Putin. Putin invaded his country and murdered tens of thousands of his countrymen. No shit, Zelensky hates Putin. Who wouldn't?
I mean, yeah, that's probably my biggest problem towards Trump specifically about that whole thing is I'm a Christian. I cannot I don't hate anyone. I really, really dislike Putin, but I'm not going to virtue signal over whether or not that someone else, air quotes, hates another person, especially if it is their literal enemy, and that being Putin is Zelensky's literal enemy. I mean, he can still hate him. It's just that he has to be somewhat cordial, mannerly, and held back as far as what fire and brimstone he wants to unload on Putin when it comes to the negotiating table. He can still be reserved, but also hate him at the same time. Stop it with the moral virtue signaling when it comes to that stuff, Trump. I mean, the mindset, I guess, is supposedly that because he hates him at all, regardless of how much he wants to hold back that hatred, because he holds that hatred at all, it affects his negotiating ability and trying to end the war.
Well, it kind of started becoming a shit show when they talked about making it negotiating a peace, and Zelensky correctly pointed out that Obama negotiated a ceasefire peace deal after the seizure of Ukraine along those lines back in 2015, and Putin just came to violate it a few years later, decided, hey, I don't feel like following it anymore. Zelensky just pointed out that a peace deal, a ceasefire deal without security guarantees isn't worth the paper it's printed on. So Trump engaging in these negotiations is basically just leaving Ukraine vulnerable, leaving his nation vulnerable in the future, which really pissed Trump off. Trump, when he heard that, that how dare you ask perfectly logical questions.
So, and this is where I'm going to probably get a little bit more into anti-Zelensky territory with what I'm going to say. just a little bit, but shouldn't that have been like something that was mentioned before he actually arrived in person to sign the deal? Isn't it like bad timing for when that he said it?
No, I
You
don't
don't
think
think
so.
so?
Some people do. I don't. They say it was disrespectful to bring that up right there in the Oval Office. It needed to be said before the American people that Putin is not to be trusted. There, that's not just having like an arbitrary hatred of him for no reason. It's pointing out the fact that Putin has violated a whole bunch of peace agreements before, and thus there needs to be some mechanism to force Putin to follow an upcoming peace agreement, or it's not worth the paper it's printed on. But Trump wants to boast, "Oh, I ended the war. I made peace. I'm a peacemaker," even if that peace is ultimately worthless. He doesn't.
What
He doesn't
was
care because he just wants to bullshit his way into touting his accomplishments.
What was you have to please excuse me. I haven't got hardly any reading in preparation for this episode of DarkMouth. I've been like busy with other things. One of them being like a mini vlog series talking about. Well, you'll know when I post it, people. But what was Ukraine going to get in return for them opening up their mineral market for U.S. companies to start tapping into?
Continued U.S. support, and plus, obviously, the mineral mining would benefit Ukrainian workers and what have you, to create jobs in Ukraine. So it
So
would definitely be a benefit for Ukraine as well as like making keeping economic dependency on the United States also gives more incentive for future U.S. administrations to want to protect Ukraine. So it would be a good win-win for both sides of mineral
so
mining deal.
So wait, you said you admitted that there is like continued U.S. Support. Well, like, actually, I gotta ask the specifics. Like, what type of support are we talking about? Just verbal support? Or are we talking about like in the way of resources, money,
I
or
mean,
what?
the way we've sent them billions of dollars in weapons that has kept Russia at bay during the current war is a big thing. And
So
yeah, I'm sure NATO membership
it
is the
doesn't
ultimate end goal.
it doesn't sound like that it was just an empty piece of paper then.
Yeah, basically, during the Budapest Accords back in the 90s, Ukraine gave up its nuclear weapons. Well, they weren't really theirs. They were old Soviet weapons. They were on Ukraine's territory in exchange for such security guarantees from the United States because they feared Russian invasion. Essentially, when we sent them all those weapons, that was us fulfilling our end of the bargain.
So, so I guess what I'm trying to say is Trump and on his part of the deal that was that he was going to continue giving, or that the U.S. government was going to continue giving the Ukraine country support. So, at that
I'm
point,
not
it
really
does
sure
not.
all the details of this particular agreement. I don't think even Trump knows
It
because they
seems
haven't been
like,
fully ironed out.
oh, okay. I don't know exactly, but it seems like that Zelensky is just complaining about nothing at that point. I mean, yeah, obviously Russia will possibly like
No, because he's pointing
break
out
any
that
deals.
there need to be. Russia has made it clear that they won't accept any kind of U.S. or Western European peace forces in Ukraine to like if there's say a deal to work out like a demilitarized zone similar to the one between the two Koreas and Ukraine. There would have to be some kind of international effort to like kind of keep the peace along the border. But Russia has made it very clear they won't accept that. So without such a security guarantee, what the hell is stopping Putin from just signing, regrouping, and then invading again in a couple of years?
Isn't the support that Trump by signing this deal is agreeing to give to Ukraine supposed to be the supposed to be the aversion of further Russian retaliation, though?
Well, I mean, but there's no real mechanism to enforce it against Russia. He just says, "Oh,
Well, of
Russia
course.
promises they won't," and we should totally believe them because
Well, I guess my thought was that maybe they're trying to take that battle as it comes, like cross that bridge when they come to it. Whereas Zelensky was like just very prematurely bringing that up, and I
Well,
mean, maybe there's a
I think
point
he's
to be made
pointing
that
out
maybe there's a point.
why
Maybe
Trump
there's a point to be made that Trump did what?
He's pointing out why he was trying to point out to Trump why the current negotiations are futile, but Trump was too thick-headed to understand. Particularly, he doesn't seem to get when Zelensky said that we're helping you guys by fighting Russia. Trump got angry, and he doesn't seem to agree that. But Zelensky's entirely right. Every time Russia has a tank blow up, a downed copter or killed Russian soldier, Russia becomes weaker, and when an American enemy is weakened, America is stronger as a result. When America's enemies are weak and our allies are strong, that's good for America. That's an America first position.
Right, I get the logic there. I don't know if did Trump say anything to actually disagree with that?
He got angry when Zelensky brought it up. It's very clear that he doesn't think so. Because that's the thing.
He got mad at him for bringing it up in
moron.
general.
He doesn't get that. Read conversations between him and Rex Tiller during his first term. Rex Tiller's trying to explain how keeping South Korea protected was important, and Trump was just obsessed over the fact that we had a trade deficit with South Korea. Because he has weird little petty myopic thinking on certain areas and doesn't understand the bigger picture on geopolitics because he's a fucking moron.
So Trump got mad at Zelensky for bringing that thing up in general, or for bringing it up right then and there?
Well, that's a question I can't really answer completely because
I mean, that's Trump's mind, kind of.
He did get annoyed when Zelensky brought that up.
Yeah, and understand. I'm just trying to think about. I guess I am trying to get into the mind of a Trump supporter's head as to why exactly they are more upset at Zelensky than Trump. I listened to the argument myself, the raw footage of it, and I also listened to Ranting Monkey's coverage of it once already. Actually, twice now. They covered that thing. Anyway. And something along the lines is that he goes bringing up that it was just, long and short, it was just a bad timing for when he brought it. Now, if they weren't in the middle of about to sign it, if they were in the middle of the negotiation phase, then stuff along these lines would have been more appropriate to bring up. But to bring it up on
I could national. Someone in the comments was saying, "Dude, what other money go in Ukraine? Why not send it to North Carolina or Ohio?" We're not sending Ukraine pallets of money. We're sending Ukraine mostly military equipment, and a lot of it is outdated military equipment. It's military equipment that's just been sitting in storage for decades that is of little use to the modern American military because it's outdated. Why the hell not let Ukraine have it? What the hell is anyone in Ohio or North Carolina going to do with a bunch of missile launchers? Hey, your home was damaged in a storm. Here's a big missile launcher. Hope that helps out. Duh.
He's just asking questions, man. I don't think there's any reason to get mad at Zachary Cawley. He's one of my anarchist fans of my subscriber base.
I'm just pointing out that's a stupid point because it doesn't. Mostly because it misunderstands what we're actually sending Ukraine.
Well, not just that. You were all you're acting like he's a dummy by saying, "Duh."
We're not sending them. We're not sending them pallets of money.
Okay, I don't know the ins and outs if it's actual money or if it's on top of old military equipment or if it's just old military equipment.
It's mostly old military.
I think it's a fair question to ask. Is all that I'm saying.
Okay, fine. Well, but I just need to correct that.
Okay. So, is there anything that you think that Zelensky could have did to handle that more correctly? The whole meeting there in the White House.
He probably shouldn't have called Vance a bitch in Russian. Apparently, that was found out after. In Russian, under his breath, he kind of mutters bitch.
Or suka, rather.
Yeah, which I didn't notice, obviously, the first time I saw it, but that was picked up later. Yeah, maybe that went a little overboard, but I can understand his frustrations.
Um, I'm yeah. One thing that that kind of frustrates me about Trump was that of how much that he was yelling. Like somebody was well, it was hard to make out what exactly that Zelensky was saying. He could not get hardly a word in edgewise, and I wish that Trump would have calmed down just a little bit so as to let him speak somewhat. Now, like, I'm not going to say that what Zelensky was saying at the timing that he was saying was right. Like, he probably should have saved that for the negotiation phase. But for me to like get the full context of who was right and what they were saying, it would have been nice to actually have had Trump quiet down so Zelensky can get a word in edgewise.
Yeah.
That's my opinion of that. Um, I wanted to like read the rest of what Zach said. I'll say one thing: Zelensky's arrogant. You'll feel it. Threat rubbed me the wrong way. Oh yeah, that was something that Monkey actually pointed out.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe that was a little much, but I think he was referring to like you'll feel it as in like in the future, like Russia becoming stronger will hurt America. It wasn't really a threat; it was just kind of a warning.
and maybe that is what he meant. Like, I guess there was part of me who was think a little part of my brain in the back of it that was thinking, is it? Are we sure that's not what he actually meant when he said that? When I was like listening to Monkey's coverage
Yeah.
of it, are we sure that uh, that he did not actually mean you're gonna feel it from Russia, not from me, but you're gonna feel it from our mutual enemy?
But yeah, but and in terms of threats, how many times have the Kremlin threatened to nuke us over the past couple of 3 years because we've dared condemn their invasion and help out Ukraine? I'm a little more afraid of their threats.
Yeah, I mean,
Medvedev, like every other week, he gets shit faced drunk and goes on Twitter and threatens to end civilization.
say what you will about Zelensky, him like making some bitchy demands or whatever, but at least he hasn't made any strong armed threats against the U.S. as compared to Russia. I mean,
Right.
Russia probably
Yeah,
in
that doesn't
combination
bother
has made
Trump at
some
all.
threats
Trump has
and
nothing but nice
demands.
things to say about them.
What?
And yet that doesn't bother Trump at all. Like Trump has nothing but nice things to say about the Kremlin.
Yeah. I can understand somewhat that if you want to like be mannerly to somebody to like get them to the negotiating table, but you don't need to like absolutely suck their dick off and like say, "Oh, Putin, we're sorry that Zelensky started the war with you, even though you're the one who gave the invasion order on Ukraine."
Right.
And finishing off Zach's live chat here, and two-tier Keir Starmer and Mers can take their attempts to force us into the fight via NATO and shove it. I don't know much about that part of it, but yeah, I don't want to like get in a hot war with Russia. Whatever we
I mean,
do,
obviously, I don't think anyone who's not insane wants that.
yeah. So how long do you want? Okay, Phantom Lord DJH07, different person from Zach says. So how long do you want a U.S. or international force there? The U.S. has been at the 38th parallel since the 1950s, and we still have bases in Japan and Germany since the 1940s.
What's wrong with having bases in Germany and Japan? It's projects American power worldwide. I'm a proud I like American soft power being projected. USA, USA. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? Yeah.
And I'll go. Have you seen Lindsey Graham's opinion of the whole White House meeting? Him saying that essentially Zelensky acted rather immature, even though Zelensky's typical opinion has been, "Oh, let's help Ukraine, war against Russia, war, let's go to war."
Yeah, but I feel that's just because he feels the need to kiss Trump's ass in order to stay in his good grace. And as a former
Really, like
Republican,
typically that
it really makes me
rather.
sick how many Republicans constantly feel a need to publicly defend his childish behavior, even though I know deep down they know Trump's a moron and he's dangerously unqualified for his office.
I mean, he's never felt the need to kiss his ass before, so why now if it's not for a legit opinion?
He's been kissing his ass pretty profusely the last 5 years. I know he didn't back in 2016, 2017, but he's pretty much just been kissing his ass pretty thoroughly. He's pretty much one of Trump's biggest golf buddies the last few years, actually.
Why wouldn't he just like stay uninvolved as far as opinions go of Zelensky versus Trump argument, though? Then
He's a U.S. senator. He feels the need that he has to.
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like it's still like a somewhat valuable opinion. Like, if you think that it's only purely because he wants to kiss Trump's ass, fine. But I think that maybe that there's a bit of validity if it's coming from somebody who is like pro-Ukraine, like and so anti-Russia to where that he wants to go to war with them. Even that type of person is coming out and saying, "Yeah, Zelensky acted very immature." I think that's a an opinion that is more valuable than having to take a pinch of salt with it.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I want to say, like expounding on your point about having bases internationally, like I was about to actually mention Lindsey Graham, and so I brought that up. But it's not like we're advocating the same thing as Lindsey Graham saying let's go to war with every single nation. But my personal opinion has been, like, even in my more libertarian phase, I get the idea that it is nice to have a base in a ally country, so it's easier for us to like mobilize in case we do get in a hot war with another country who is like being an actual aggressor. Like, say if China started invading us here in the States, like they were mobilizing in the Pacific because they I don't know, like I don't know who I can think alternatively to in this situation. Like, I don't know. Let's just say, like, in a super hypothetical, they take over Japan and they can use that as a bounce off point to invade the U.S. It would be nice if we had a base or alliance with Taiwan for them to help us mobilize against China. I mean, probably more likely that we use nukes against each other more than anything, but still, that's my basic belief.
Yeah,
just
China were to invade the
simplified.
U.S. shoreline, the nukes would start flying. That's reality. A world where like both superpowers fought without using nukes, kind of like the Red Dawn scenario, is not very likely.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I love that movie, it's a great movie, but it's not very likely.
You're right, I guess.
In terms, and also, like I was going to say about the loans to Ukraine, it marks to about 5% of the defense budget over the past 3 years is devoted to helping Ukraine in their war against Russia. And at that time, Russia has lost thousands of tanks. They've lost close to 250 million men have been killed, and another 500,000 Russian men have been injured. And so Russia has, and not to mention all the billions, hundreds of billions they've spent on this war. You look at the amount of weakness and damage done to Russia versus the amount of money we've actually paid. This is a massive bargain, and 0 American troops have been killed. So America gets to massively hurt our second biggest enemy on the planet for relatively very little cost. Like, at any cost benefit analysis shows this war, it's been a tremendous bargain.
So I don't know if you want to address coffee house dialogue right here. I think this live chat might have been directed towards you more than anything.
183 billion appropriated by Congress, 20 billion in loans, just weapons. My dumb piss off Warhawk, and I'm not answering that. Piss off Warhawk. But
I think he was not appreciating being called a dumbass.
Assistance in terms of loans, but they're loans, okay, as they have to pay them. And that was another thing Trump said that's BS. Is he claimed that the aid that other European countries gave to Ukraine has to be paid back, but the ones America gave have not for some reason. That's not true. That's another thing Trump said that's completely false.
And what I wanted to say, I'm expounding of that the live chat right there. I like addressed Loudmouth going a little bit too fire and brimstone with you asking a question earlier, Zach. But to you, Loudmouth, I think that was him basically saying that he doesn't appreciate being called dumbass over his question.
Did I use the word dumbass?
I'm not so sure if you actually used the word dumbass, but you said dirt like to mock him.
Well, because it annoys me that most people don't understand what the aid to Ukraine is. It's not like just like pallets full of money. It's mostly outdated weapons, and I really don't see any case for why keeping them in a bunch of sheds is like a better use of those weapons than sending them to Ukraine. I mean, certainly it's much better. I mean, look at all those weapons we wasted in Afghanistan, though, that Biden inadvertently gave to the Taliban.
Oh yeah,
How
I
many
mean,
like big pallets of weapons going to Ukraine just seems like a much better use of all these weapons.
just from a pragmatic point of view, like shelving my libertarianism for a second would be, I trust Ukraine with our old equipment than I do the Taliban or the supposed Afghan democratic government that we're trying to establish there.
Yeah, and I can't believe that how fast it fell. Like the Taliban ended up getting those weapons in a few weeks. I was all for getting out of Afghanistan, but you think at least they could have destroyed those weapons rather than letting the Taliban get them? That would have been a far better. How hard would that have been? Well, just if you can't evacuate the weapons, blow them the hell up. Well, it's better they be destroyed than in the Taliban's hands.
Indeed. So, was there anything else about the whole issue of Russia versus Ukraine that you wanted to bring up?
It kind of scares me the direction Trump's going in, particularly with China's threats against Taiwan. I do wonder if he'll also want to have a hackneyed, worthless deal with the Chinese Communist Party that also has no positive effects, or because I just worry that Trump mostly doesn't seem to understand why it's better for democratic countries to be propped up and autocratic regimes not. It shows that Trump's inherent authoritarianism.
Yeah. Let's see. So, I actually need to stay caught up with China Uncensored, but Trump's massive move against China, like just in general, what has your opinion been about China Uncensored as of recently, as far as their coverage with Trump versus China?
Generally, it's pretty good. I still watch China Uncensored as a good source of news on what's happening in the Middle Kingdom.
Even if they might be too charitable for your liking about Trump?
They are a bit too charitable, but generally they always come up with various facts that I think are important, and I always learn a lot from them. So, yeah, definitely. At least those guys seem to do their research.
Fair enough. And I guess one thing that I have to say is I like a lot of what Trump is doing on the domestic side of things, but okay, we'll get to that in a bit, Zach. But on the foreign side of things, that seems to be where that most of my disapproval of Trump seems to be going. And not even like just because of, neoconservative intervention, let's go to war with everyone kind of policy, but let's sympathize with our enemies and like come up with bullshit logic as to why not really our allies, because I know that Ukraine is not technically an ally, but people that are more friendly with us, like Taiwan or Ukraine, trying to frame them as either an equal evil or a bigger evil than our actual Cold War enemies. That seems to be the biggest disappointment for me personally. But thoughts on Panama? Asks Caviar's Dialogue.
I think that Jimmy Carter was a complete fool to have ever given away the Panama Canal. Trump's right that it should never have happened, but I don't know if there's any real mechanism that Trump can just take it back without like starting a war. So that said, I do like that pressure on them has caused Panama to cancel China's Belt and Road Initiative there. So that's a positive development. I will give Trump credit where credit's due on that one.
Okay, that's something that I did not know, but hey, a little bit of levity for this episode of Darkmouth, I guess.
All right, even though obviously I'm not a fan of Trump, I will give him credit when he does not fuck up on the occasion.
As we all try to on this channel.
Yeah, but but I'll also excoriate him when he does fuck up, which is more often than not.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
So, if we were kind of done on those subjects of foreign policy, Loudmouth, I gotta ask, like, who are some of your favorite music artists?
Favorite music artists? Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band is always a favorite. The Beatles, obviously, that goes without saying. Let's see.
Beatles.
Putting in the Blowfish, I always loved.
Oh yeah, Bob Seger and Darius Rucker are like them. Beatles,
Come on, dude. They're classic.
I mean, yeah, they're okay, but I think they're kind of overrated.
Let It Be is probably one of like the top 5 best songs ever written.
Well, you kind of gave a little bit of reaction there, but what would be your full reaction to somebody who said that any of those 3 are just outright bad? I didn't even say any of them are really bad. But just
I sent "Let It Be" to my mom on Mother's Day because it's just a great Mother's Day song. Because you know why? When the lyric when he says, "When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me," a lot of people thought that was religious imagery referring to the Virgin Mary, but it actually was a tribute to Paul McCartney's own mother, whose name was Mary. And when he would get into fights as a kid, his mom would tell him, "Stop fighting, let it be."
I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was supposed to be religious messaging too, especially after John Lennon made his "We're bigger than Jesus" comment.
No, it was a tribute to his mom, and that's what I really like about that song.
But I don't know if you heard my question. What would be your full reaction? What would be your full reaction if anybody said that those 3 are? Because keep in mind, I did not say that any of those 3 are like outright bad. I said that the Beatles, at most, I said that the Beatles are overrated. But what would be your full reaction if anybody said that any of those 3 are just plain bad?
I'd say you're wrong. Sorry, you have bad taste. I imagine you waste too much time on Imagine Dragons. You see that. Well, there was a controversy over some songs at a Trump rally being for musicians that didn't like Trump, and there's some controversy over that. And as a joke, the Babylon Bee did a headline that says, "Imagine Dragons upset that that there's been no controversy over their songs being used at rallies."
All right.
I thought that was funny because it's only because their songs are terrible.
I don't think that they are particularly terrible. I mean, my least favorite artist as of recent memory has got to be Hardy.
Hardy?
Yeah, Hardy. The one poser country rock artist who's all like, "I woke up on the wrong side of the truck bed this morning." Fucking annoying lyrics and background music for all of his songs and shit.
Right. Most music today doesn't really do much for me. Back in the 90s, you could listen to "Every Time I Look at You, I Go Blind." And these days, the songs, every time I listen to them, I go deaf.
Yeah. Speaking of going deaf, or rather going mute, would you go so far to say that anybody who disses on John Lennon or Bob Seger or Darius Rucker should just shut up?
They're entitled to their opinion, you know.
Okay, so you are definitely at least better than the next people that I'm essentially going to go a bit on a rant of. And entire screen, audio, share. Okay. So I don't know if you guys caught my latest video, but I released a little unscripted vlog video that is edited so as to try and to trim out some of the fat, some of the stutters and all that shit. But Kendrick is a music artist, not a god, because this controversy is still a little bit ongoing, and it'll probably never die because there'll always be a worship complex that a lot of people have within regards of anybody hating on their music to some extent or another. That's not applicable to Loudmouth, but it's just all like, it's ridiculous. And what's extra ridiculous is people like going on like catch this one in particular. This Mayo person probably worships Trump like a god, referring to
Jeez,
me.
they don't watch our. They should make that person watch our podcast.
That's exactly what I said. I said, look again. I have like the rolling on the floor, cry laughing emojis. And I say, look again, retard. I've got loads of content criticizing Trump and his more extreme supporters who act all cultish about him. And yeah, I mean, to this guy's credit, though, this Gilly guy, he at least like takes it back because ultimately, I guess he did say here, nah, you cooked me. I take back what I said. You're a smart man, which it's a bit weird. Like, just because I correct him on one thing that should have been the easiest thing in the world to get correct about me, and that is I am not a Trump worshiper. And just because I correct you on that, you're going to call me a smart guy?
Like this guy's music,
huh?
That's a weird thing to assume just because you don't like this guy's music that you'd be a Trump worshiper.
Oh, the claim is kind of a bit of. I guess he's trying to say that I'm projecting when I say that Kendrick Lamar fans, the more extreme ones, anyways. I mean, again, if you like Kendrick Lamar, that's totally fine, people. I just dislike the extremists who say that people should just shut up on criticizing him. I guess his claim about me worshiping Trump is supposed to be a bit of weak attempt at claims of projection, saying, "Oh no, you're projecting. We don't worship Kendrick. It's you worship Trump." Blah, blah, blah.
Well, you should respond. Well, I'm sure Kendrick Lamar's a better singer than Donald Trump.
Only by a little. I mean, there's not a whole lot of singing effort needed in most rap. I mean, there's some rap of where that people vocalize a lot, I will grant. And by the way, I don't hate all rap, just indiscriminately, people. Like, there's actually this a couple of niche artists called B Mike and Dax who I've been listening more and more of, and they're actually all right songs. I especially like the messages in those songs, but even the background music is better than Kendrick stuff. And one other thing that I got to say is, speaking of bad background music, is my claim. I claimed at one point in my video that Lil Wayne was mumble rap, and I just gotta say, accept my retraction, Kendrick Lamar fans and Lil Wayne fans. I guess he's not mumble rap because my main reference of Lil Wayne is God's Plan. I gave a good re-listen to that song yesterday, and I come to fully realize, yeah, this ain't mumble rap. So accept my retraction. I was wrong. But that being said, the song was still freaking bad. I don't like it. The background music was bad. And I also gave a re-listen to the latest hit song from Kendrick, that being what's it called? Not Like Us. Like, that background music doesn't suit me either. And what was another thing that I want to say in particular? Oh, one thing that is like extra retarded actually is people saying nobody said he's a god. Behave yourself. Kendrick has rapped in songs that he's no one's savior. Meanwhile, Drake calls himself the sixth god, and other artists like Kanye and Jay-Z have invoked god-like nicknames. Kendrick just tends to provide conscientiousness, introspective, thoughtful music.
That's a valid point that he definitely ain't Kanye West.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that was the thing. Like, I don't know if the rest of this comment is relevant, but I said essentially in response to that, Kendrick may not claim himself to be a god, but his more extreme fans act like he is. And that's a key word, act like he is. I don't actually claim that anybody is literally saying, oh, Kendrick is God, but there's this person saying,
Kanye West, I think, actually did, because he claimed himself as like some kind of sainthood.
And might I just say, without
nuts.
And might I just say, so that there's no confusion at all, Kanye West, I'm going, as far as I know, is a worse person than Kendrick. At least Kendrick has not like put his own wife on Front Street by having her wear like a see-through dress or something. Has not said that the Jews are evil and control everything. Kendrick might say that he hates.
He literally advocated making Jews slaves in one tweet. He said the pharaohs were right to enslave Jews. I'm like, that kind of crosses the line.
Supposedly Kendrick Lamar is like some kind of Afro nationalist. I don't know how factual that is. Just somebody in my Discord server claimed that. And even if that is true, at least that isn't as extreme as saying, oh, white people should be slaves, like Kanye saying Jews should be slave.
Well, yeah, that's for Nuts. Yeah, he seemed to have like woke up on the wrong side of the bed a couple weeks ago, and he just made this insane stream of tweets claiming himself
Yeah.
as a Nazi, and just oh my god.
Yeah. And uh, on further nuance, actually, it is possible for you to be a racial supremacist without you actually advocating for every other race to be slaves. Like, I'm going to be honest, Richard Spencer, piece of crap. He's a white nationalist. He wants a white ethno state. But at least he hasn't advocated for slavery, enslavement of black people. So to give credit where it's due. And on the same token, Kendrick, if those claims, big fat if, those claims of Afro nationalism are true about him, at least he's not calling for slavery against white people, as far as I know, anyways.
Right.
Unlike Kanye with Jews. And again, this person
saying
South
Park episode making fun of him last year. That was fucking funny.
I have not. Maybe send me a link of that.
Yeah, basically, and it Cardman starts spreading rumors that Kyle controls Hollywood, and those rumors, and more people believe them. I believe that from a celebrity I saw on TV, and then they go to TV, and then Cartman's on TV wearing the same goofy outfit Kanye West was, and he's like, I think that Kyle owns Hollywood and stuff.
Is it that like what goofy outfit? Is it that
You're the one where he wore that like weird sack on his head where you couldn't see his face and went on Alex Jones's show?
Oh, I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking like maybe I'm like confusing him with a different rap artist, but I thought Kanye might have like worn some big old marshmallow orange marshmallow coat with it unzipped, and he had like a scarf around his neck or something like that.
Right. Someone in the comments just posted, we wouldn't have to send aid to Ukraine if Russia hadn't decided to violently invade their country, but you won't ever hear a Republican blame Russia. I mean, I'm a Republican, and at least I was, I guess, and I certainly blame the hell out of Russia for it.
And hello, BTK in the live chat. We're about to end this after I like end this topic off, but go ahead and like give a re-listen.
Hiya. Yeah.
But go ahead and give like a re-listen to the beginning of this live stream after we're done here. But so there was that comment there. Nobody said he's a god. Behave yourself. And this other person saying he never say he is a god. Stupid people. And that's a big fucking projection, because if you had actually watched the video in its entirety, you would clearly hear me say that I am not saying that anybody is literally saying that, oh, I think Kendrick is God and I worship and I pray at an idol of him every night. But with the way that people are acting, you might as well be thinking that he is one. Because, yeah, people are just like being too stupid to listen to the entirety of the video, and it's stupid.
There's fans like that of like any like famous person. Like there's always like weirdly fanatical fans. They're always that are kind of creepy. People like seem to form parasocial relationships with celebrities in society a lot. I mean, that is why one guy decided to shoot Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
He thought Jodie Foster would love him if he shot Ronald Reagan.
Yeah. You know, I don't think I'll address anymore.
Ladies, find a man who's willing to do anything for you. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah. Although I do gotta ask, in all fairness, like this ain't the first time that I got dogpiled on for saying that I thought that a rap artist was bad. I got that experience when I said that I dislike Lil Wayne, even though that I realize he's not mumble rap. I still dislike him, though, from what I've heard of his music so far. But have we ever seen anything like this in regards of even Justin Bieber fans? Like, I know that Justin Bieber fans. I know that Justin Bieber fans like practically like fawn over him and like want to have like would go chasing him down, like trying to get in bed with him and other stuff along those lines. But have they even like gone so far to say, "Hey, shut up! Justin Bieber's music is great. He is God. Don't say that he's bad."
Oh yeah, there were fans like that. There always were.
Okay, I don't know. I was.
Oh yeah.
I was there. I was there with the Bieber fever back in the day, but I did not. I guess I wasn't privy. I guess I wasn't cognizant of the fullness of it.
And they're stupid. So believe me. They would.
Yeah. Uh, and might I say, I guess one of the claims from Lamar fans is that Drake did it, or Drake fans did it. That they were all like, "Oh, shut up! Drake is not bad. You just don't have any taste. How dare you say he's bad?" And I say, "Okay, yeah, that's bad too, but that doesn't justify you taking revenge on." Not only just anybody who's like a Kendrick disliker or even a Drake fan in the mildest sense of the word, but also those people who don't even give that much of a shit about Drake or Lamar just in general.
Well, to be honest, this topic doesn't really interest me that much. But T says in the comments, why
All
aren't
right, we're
any of
done.
the United States stupid allies on Russia's side? Don't they realize how popular and fashionable pro-Russia's sentiments and talking points are among conservatives right now? Which is something that really shocks and disturbs me lately. I understand like being afraid of Russia's nuclear arsenal and wanting to keep this conflict from spiraling out of control. That is a motive I 100% sympathize with. And yeah, I'm scared of Russia's nuclear arsenal too. I know that it could end all of civilization, but people seeing how many on the right have tried to justify Russian expansionism in such bullshit ways and repeat Kremlin talking points has been absolutely disgusting. And it's really pulled me away from the right in general, because although I lean on most issues rightward, I am very much against Russian expansionism.
Yeah, I mean, if that is part of the defining way of determining what side of the political aisle that you are on is of how much that you toe the line with all the other political pundits of that appropriate side of the political aisle, I guess that means that I'm not hard or far right, even though a lot of my beliefs would be kind of far right-ish. But yet, because I'm critical of Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes and Richard Spencer, a lot of people on the far right say that he's not right wing at all. But still, because I'm critical of those types of people, that must mean that I'm not far right.
Well, I'm just very much against authoritarian regimes around the world, and
Yeah.
I side with, I think liberal democracies are better than authoritarianism. So I think authoritarian countries like Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran should be kept in check 100%.
I wonder if I can like easily find your one tweet actually. Here, let me look. I believe I might have retweeted it. It was the one meme that you. Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Pull it up.
There must be some mistake. I came here to live a base trad lifestyle. Dig the fucking hole.
I love that cartoon. It perfectly sums up how stupid a lot of these pro-Russia retards on the right are. Because the notion that Russia is like some ally to like Christendom and traditional values is such bullshit. They have lower church attendance than the United States. They constantly help radical Muslim regimes like Iran build nuclear weapons. They are no friend to like Christian conservative values. Yeah, and they have like one of the highest abortion rates on the planet. Yeah, it's an awful place for conservatives.
Yeah.
Not to mention Russia has 142 million people, and their economy is smaller than the state of Florida's.
Wow.
They're a fucking shithole. Their gas station
with military is probably bigger than Texas.
Texas, New York, Florida, and California all individually have a bigger economy than Russia.
But not a bigger military, though, right? Or do you even know?
Dude, states don't have an offensive military. The federal government does.
Well, if you talked about their National Guards, though.
Well, okay, they have a National Guard, yeah, but obviously not a bigger. States' National Guards are not a bigger military than Russia. I was referring only to their economy, dude.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, that just kind of shows just how impoverished Russia is. People talk about wealth inequality here. It's nothing compared to Russia, where a few oligarchs control vast vast fortunes while most of the country spend like 60% of their income on food.
I'd braid Ozzy's chest hair. Don't know about no Bieber, says the BTK.
Oh.
That's pretty dank right there.
Yeah.
And not saying this about BTK specifically, but just want to add on the last subject. Then I'll drop it entirely. If anybody, like back in the old days, like any like a rap enthusiast who was a rap enthusiast before it was cool in the 90s or whatever, if you got bullied on in the past by some sycophantic Aerosmith fans, for example, for daring to say that you thought that Aerosmith is bad, well then that was wrong too, and I feel sorry for you, but that doesn't justify you to like take revenge on people of modern day being all like, oh yeah, I don't like Kendrick Lamar, I think his music is bad, or any other rap artist. But anyway, here's another chat comment. Doesn't seem to be popping up in the actual live chat, but pops up in my StreamYard here. The BTK also says if the Ukraine hadn't stopped water to Crimea, they say Ruskies wouldn't have entered Ukraine in Dunbar or Donbass.
I mean, they
but
literally
the whole
already
who even knows
entered
anymore.
Ukraine by being in Crimea in the first place, though, for one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Crimea is Ukraine.
Anyway, I think we need to wrap it up right here because that's kind of what I told Loudmouth. I got family plans that are going to kick off here soon.
I mean, other stories. You hear the weird, suspicious death of Gene Hackman? It's kind of weird.
Oh yeah, I mean, how do you think that is someone else that might have mummified his wife, or do you think that he might have done it and then committed suicide
both of them
later?
were dead like a week, but well, they determined both of them were dead a week before they were found.
Oh,
so and they didn't find evidence of a gas leak, so possible some foul play was involved, but that can't be known for sure. It's possible they did die in a gas leak, as was earlier reported, and basically the evidence of that like dissipated. They're apparently investigating it, but I can't believe. But yeah, Gene Hackman's gone. He was one of the best actors of all time.
Didn't he play as the dementia-riddled admiral in Crimson Tide?
Yeah, that's a really good movie.
Yeah,
Denzel Washington. And he also, he's also Lex
movie,
Luthor in the old Superman movies. Yeah, a lot of great movies.
Okay, I did not know that he played as Lex Luthor. There's one iteration of Superman where I know that Lex Luthor is trying to create an artificial island out of kryptonite, and Superman has to try and push it out of the atmosphere.
That's Superman Returns, and then Kevin Spacey played him in that one.
Oh, okay, never mind. Forget I
said
the
1978 Superman with Christopher Reeve as Superman. Lex Luthor is played by Gene Hackman.
Okay, is that the second Superman of Reeves continuity?
No, it was the first one. He was also in the second one too, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he appeared in the sequel. But when I heard that he was dead, I'm like, yeah, he was 95, so that's expected. But then I heard the other weird circumstances, and I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah.
His wife and dog being found dead with him, that is not something that would happen if he just died of old age.
Well, rest in peace, Gene Hackman. I haven't watched too many of your movies, but I guess you'll be missed by Loudmouth.
Yeah, a lot of people. But I've said
and a lot of other people.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think this is. I'm sorry. We do have to wrap it up, actually, though.
All right, that's fine. Have a good night, everybody.
Yep. Thank you all for watching, and rewatch it if you're just now coming in, and we'll try and continue these shows as much as we can. Thank you for joining in, and y'all have a good rest of your day, and God bless.
Bye-bye.